Welcome back to the show, everyone. Let's discuss 7 steps for a comfortable retirement. To do that, I welcome Jerry Schlutzowitz with Pacific Financial Planners.
Thanks for having me, Bree. Great to be here.
Nice to have you back, Jerry. Always such a pleasure. I always learn so much from our little conversations here, and I'm sure the viewers do too.
Well, thank you.
Let's just start off by what is the predictability for retirees? Why is it so important?
Well, 65% of seniors worry about money in retirement. They worry about running out of money more than they worry about death. And these are 2025 surveys by AARP. So there's legitimacy to it. Mm-hmm. And even people with over $1 million in savings, so it doesn't matter if 500,000, 5 million, about 33% still worry about money. Why? Because they have a more expanded lifestyle, so they spend more typically. Right. So it really doesn't matter what income level you are, it's the worry part that's out there. But there's actual steps you can take to create predictability in your retirement. And the predictability is income, and an income that can last over your lifetime. And that's what people really want, that would take away or alleviate some of the worry.
Absolutely. So we've got some challenges that retirees face, and not only retirees, but everybody in general, right?
Right, but everybody in general, they're still working. So hopefully if inflation is 3% year over year, you might get a 4% raise. So you need to, you have that. But if the inflation rate is, let's say 3.5%, nationally, the consumer price index for 18 to 65-year-olds, healthcare inflation for seniors, which is one of the largest expenses in retirement, is rising at a rate of about 5 or 6% per year. So those costs are going up twice as fast as the average cost for your average American who still has a job. So that's why it's important to be concerned about that. A lot of people don't have any kind of a plan for long-term care either, yet they're saying 7 out of 10 people will need some form of long-term care in their lifetime. So how are you going to pay for it? Because Medicare doesn't pay for it. Medicaid won't pay for it. You're stuck in a situation where you have to pay for it and come up with the money to get the care that you really want should that happen to you.
Right, yeah. So really there is not even security if you are wealthy.
Well, again, the key is, that's part of the 7 steps. Step number 1 is have a plan. I mean, you have to have a plan, and it can't just be in your head. If you're just, I was talking to somebody this morning that, they were saying, hey, look, I'm interested in long-term care protection, what we were just talking about. And if you think about it, that's great. You can buy insurance that would cover some or all of it, okay? Or you can self-insure. But if you self-insure, what assets are you going to use? So if you determine, okay, I'm going to use these assets, these mutual funds, or this annuity over here to pay for it, now does your caregiver, the person who's going to be the person who has to make the decisions should you end up in the long-term care facility, especially if it's from some trauma, some hospital release, something like that, you're not going to be focused on that. They're not going to be focused on it. So there's a lot of steps to having that plan.
Right.
And then there's, like you want to protect your assets. I mean, people have money in the stock market. I see that with the clients that come in from the village here. People have too much risk. They really do. The market always comes back. The last market decline that started in the year 2000, it took until 2013. Because by the time it got back to where it was in 2000, in 2007, we had the financial crisis instead of the dot-com era, and it took 13 years. So in 13 years, where are some of these seniors going to be? Can they wait that long? And if they're drawing from it, they don't ever recover. So
right.
You've got to have a plan for protection and participation in the right markets at the right time.
Right. So do you walk your clients through each of the 7 steps?
Absolutely. And we're constantly reviewing it by having benchmarks and things once they're a client to make sure, because life happens. Death of a spouse, huge situation. I mean, your taxes are going to go higher. Obviously, your income's going to be reduced because you lose their Social Security, or the surviving spouse gets the higher of the 2 Social Securities. But there's a number of things that can happen. A health emergency, that could dramatically change everything. So
right.
It's important that you start with a plan, and it has to be flexible and nimble enough to adjust for life.
Right. So talk to us about step number 3. We've covered number 1 and number 2. Number 3, income sources.
Very important, Bree. so many people, they save for retirement by just saving money every month, every year, bonuses, whatever they put it in. And they call that dollar cost averaging. It's when you buy, when you get the money. If the market's high, you buy some shares. If the market's low and you're 40, 45 years old, perfect, because now you're buying more shares at a cheaper price. That's what makes dollar cost averaging so successful. Right. And since they've done that for 30, 35 years, when they get to retirement, they figure, this is, the person I brought to the dance with me, I'm going to stay with it. And they start doing what's called reverse dollar cost averaging. So they start drawing it off. Well, if the market goes down and you have to draw off, you have to sell more shares.
Right.
So if dollar cost averaging is good, which it is mathematically, I can show you mathematically that reverse dollar cost averaging is horrible. Yet most retirees never understand that the mindset has to shift from growth towards one of income, and making sure that income is secure, safe, just like your Social Security is secure and safe.
But if you can't control the market, how are you going to know?
Oh, you can control risk. Absolutely, Bree. There's things with no risk. So I said, you can, and you can have controlling risk in the market too. You don't have to have it drop 50% like a lot of people have over their lifetime, saying, well, it's going to come back. Once you're drawing that money, you cannot take big losses. I could show you mathematically that big wins are less important than not taking big losses once you retire. And there are things that pay income no matter what in any market condition where you don't have to worry about the markets. What we do is we use this 3-bucket approach. We have an immediate income bucket, the first bucket, and that is going to cover your expenses for 10 years. Then we have a liquid bucket that if you need to take a big vacation, remodel the house, buy a new car. And then we use this third bucket that we call a replacement bucket that in 10 years should grow to the value that growth goes back to the income bucket to return that for another 10 years. Bree, I've been doing this almost 40 years. I have repeated that 3 times for dozens upon dozens of clients and 2 times for hundreds of clients, where we make that bucket approach a successful, full long-term retirement plan.
So it really gives people a lot of peace of mind.
You have your income met. You have the flexibility if you have an emergency or need extra money for something special, and you've got more money in the flexible bucket than anywhere, and then you have this replacement bucket growing to start that process over again.
Right, because we're always going to be faced with what you call the silent threats: inflation, market risk.
Yeah, I mean, inflation, people just don't realize it. I mean, we're complaining about it now. I mean, people are saying, hey, look, prices are still too high. Inflation generally doesn't go down. Inflation is a rate. So that 10% rate of inflation we had in 2022, well, it never went down. It's just growing at 3% now on top of the 10%. So that's why prices of everything are still going up. And they probably will for some time. Mm-hmm. So you've got to have some growth, but you don't have to have all your growth at risk in the markets. So, it really is. And there's ways to control it that I think people just don't know because they were taught to save money every month, so they're just withdrawing it every month from the same method and style, when it's really completely different. The last one was taxes, is they're drawing maybe from the wrong source and paying too much in taxes. There's ways to not pick a better stock, mutual fund, or exchange traded fund. It's to reduce taxes, and you'll get more money.
Wow. Well, I highly encourage our viewers to come see you. You've got the Financial Forum Club. They meet every Thursday, right?
The second Thursday of every month.
Second Thursday of every month.
Yeah, and so that's this Thursday, the 11th, 9/11 anniversary. But yeah, 3 to 5 p.m., Clubhouse 7. We have coffee and cookies, and people usually enjoy the discussion. We have kind of an educational segment. That's what we'll talk about, is these 7 steps for a predictable, comfortable retirement. And then we'll have a kind of an open forum where everybody discusses their situation if they want to. If you want to come and not participate, just show up and learn.
Listen and learn. Jerry, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Always
Bree.
a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up next, we'll have the Boomers Club. Stay with us.